So that's when I forgot I was supposed to have something to say when we start the podcast. Oh, hello there. Thank you for joining us once again for this, the 121st episode of Drunk Doctor Who, wherein we discuss the 121st story of Doctor Who, the Black Orchid, or just Black Orchid. Is this a story and not a serial? What's the difference between a story and a serial?
No. Serial is a serialized format where it goes over time, but we're eventually going to get to the part where there are single episodes.
Those are
just a story, so you can't really call it a serial at that point.
Right.
We've only had the one thus far, which was the...
two-parter?
No, it was the one-parter, the Breakaway.
Was that the one that was...
They didn't have the Doctor, the companions in it. It was a precursor to the Daleks' Master Plan, yeah.
The 14-parter or whatever.
The Breakaway episode, yeah. That's the only one that you get in the old stuff, but this is a short two-parter, 25-minute episode, so it's done in less than an hour.
And not only is this our 121st podcast, it's also our 5th season, right? 5th anniversary.
Okay. The 5th anniversary will be on the 15th, I believe.
5 years.
Oh, hold on. I got it right
so
here.
Next week.
I've actually got it right here.
Next week will be our anniversary. Dude, can you believe we've been doing this for 5 years?
6/11.
Yeah. Between this week and next week will be our 5th anniversary.
Sunday.
Which marks...
this Sunday. So next Monday, we'll be celebrating our 5th anniversary of this podcast.
Next Monday, tune in for our 5th season premiere episode, 121, where we discuss Earthshock, which we're all very excited about.
Earthshock.
But not
Classic
as
serial.
excited as we were to watch The Black Orchid, which is what we're talking about today. Hannah, what are we drinking today?
Here, I'm drinking Russian Standard vodka because I found another source for it. And you are drinking Coors Light, obviously.
Yes.
Alright, I'm Hannah, this is Holden. If you don't know who we are, you just jumped in
here.
Yeah, for this particular episode, thank you for joining us. Stick around. We get goofier, especially when there's more episodes to drink during.
Did we mention this was a two-parter?
Yeah, just two
It's
parts.
weird that it's still light out because it's actually night out this window. I'm not used to filming when the sun's up.
Alright, so
Sun's up, sun's up.
Today is the 5th of June, 2023.
It is.
2 episodes. They were broadcast. Remember how they were going Monday and Tuesday back then?
Yeah.
So, March 1st, 1982 to March 2nd, 1982. Okay.
We got it all in.
Yeah, it's just the companions are Adric, Nissa, and Tegan.
They didn't have to wait very long on that cliffhanger.
And the antagonists are Public Opinion?
I mean, who is the antagonist of this episode?
I'd say George.
The Cranleys?
The lady what's-her-face.
Okay, I'll put the Cranleys.
Yeah. Alright.
But they only did it because of Public Opinion, right? So who's the real villain?
I don't know. Well, she's the villain for giving into Public Opinion. Don't give into Public Opinion.
The real villain is conformity.
Okay, so as you can see on the cover, we don't have a normal cover. We've got a guy in a Harlequin suit and a mask, and then we have what appears to be 2 Nissas. It's actually Nissa, and what's the young lady's name that looks exactly like Nissa except the hair?
Anne.
Anne. And Anne.
Anne. Who is not a companion, but
Correct.
we have 3...
Looks just like one.
3 new companions, 3 police officers, all entered the TARDIS, making them companions.
They did not fill the companion slot. He only showed them to stay out of jail. All right. Don't even start to get serial. Okay, this should be a really short
I
episode.
still never did that forum post.
Alright, so, starts off, a guy gets killed. We're 2 seconds into the episode.
This is
a guy dies.
The first scene, we immediately have our death. That has to be some sort of record.
There's not even a breath. You have no time to take a breath, and the guy gets killed.
Yeah, it opens on him being strangled.
Yeah. Then another guy, an Indian, Brazilian Indian, with I forget what they call these, with the
lip gauge.
Lip gauge or whatever. Yeah. He gets knocked on the back of the head, and this guy we still haven't seen yet escapes his confines. He had gotten out of some ropes and stuff. Anyway, in the meantime, the Dr. Tegan, Adric, and Nyssa land in 1925.
It's
Earth.
the roaring 20s, baby.
Oh yeah, and that comes
they're
into
doing
play
the
here.
Charleston, and they're
Yep.
saying things like "old boy."
Well, they did that out. Remember?
It's very Great Gatsby's.
Harry Sullivan did that into the in the late 70s, and Sarah Jane hated it. She's like, "Stop calling me old girl." That stuck around for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like, "You all right, old girl? Stop calling me old girl."
Yeah. I do remember.
It was literally a sign of endearment back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know why necessarily. Maybe because people didn't survive that long, or maybe because you consider them an old friend.
Yeah, that's before it was rude to say a woman's old.
Well, at least in that culture. At least
Okay.
Anyway, so they show up, they leave the TARDIS, and they're at the north platform of a train
They
station.
leave the TARDIS, and then they leave the TARDIS on the train.
On the station platform, and there's a chauffeur with a car waiting for them. And he says, "Oh, you're expected." And I was like, "We're expected?" He goes, "Yes, you're the doctor, right?" And I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor is, of course, wearing his usual cricket outfit, which he wears his entire time. And so they mistake him for mistaken identity. They mistake him for somebody who was sent to play cricket and who is also a doctor.
So that person never shows up, right?
Correct. Yeah,
Where'd they go?
This is also a bit of the plot of Flywheel, I think.
I never got why they were there to pick up the doctor. I mean, I got it was a case of mistaken identity. Well, like back in the planet of the beat, back when he impersonated a diplomat, like the actual diplomat showed up, and that happened like 2 or 3 times. Or he pretends to be someone. But
That's the second doctor, yeah.
Yeah, that never happens this time.
Well, in this case, they just phone in eventually. So, apparently, somebody named Smutty was supposed to send a doctor to play cricket. Hence the mistaking the doctor in the cricket uniform for a doctor.
Do you think Smutty is his birth name?
No. He was
You don't
Smutty
think his
College.
mother went, it's Smutty?
No. It might be short for something like, no idea. Might be short for something, but...
I know this one girl, her name was Rose Petal.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why is your name Rose Petal? And she said, well, when I was younger, I asked my mom that same thing. And she said, when I was a baby, a rose petal landed on my head. I said, oh, that's nice. And then she's like, right after I asked her that, my sister Raindrop came and asked her that same question. And Mom said, oh, it's because a raindrop fell on your forehead.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after Raindrop said that, the third daughter walks in, and her name's Brick, and she said,
Oh man, I'm stealing that. I know a slightly different variation. That, yeah. Alright, anyway. This channel's not for children. Alright.
Is that not a child-friendly
No,
joke?
the version I know.
What's the version you know?
No, we're good.
I already know what it is.
Alright, so anyway, they end up being taken to the cricket match under a case of mistaken identity, and the doctor, they're like losing badly or poorly or whatever. The doctor gets up there and he just bats the thing out of the park a bunch of times. They make a bunch of wickets, run back and forth.
What do they call it?
Huh?
How's that? How's that?
How's that? Okay.
Does that mean like strike?
I have no earthly
Home
idea.
run? Or is he literally just saying, how is that?
I don't know. I know
like,
this much of cricket as compared to a couple of miles, And then the doctor, apparently Davison was an avid cricketer. And it shows because he gets up there and he bowls perfectly. but boom, 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 boom. And he bats really, really well, too.
You said they got that on the first scene.
Yeah, his very first pitch was his very first pitch. And it's just perfect past the bat, hits the middle one, knocks the deals off, and doesn't touch the other two. It was great. It's like trying to bowl a crazy split, in bowling, not cricket.
It's like trying to bowl and play baseball.
Yeah. Alright. Anyway, so the Doctor kicks major butt for the home team.
Mm-hmm.
And several people have noticed that Nyssa looks exactly like her doppelganger, Anne, which happens to be the fiance of, what was his name?
Cranley?
Yeah, the young Cranley.
Yeah.
The younger of the two sons.
I wrote his name down as Cranley. I thought that was his first name.
Edward or something?
Until later I realized that was his last name, and I know.
Oh. I think it may have been Edward, may have been Robert, something like that.
Did we talk about why they're here in 1925 in the first place?
Yeah, TARDIS was wonky.
But did we talk about what happened? So last time
they burned down London, 1666.
So last time, in Kinda, Tegan said, I'm done, and the Doctor's like, alright, I'm gonna take you home. So he teleports to the airport.
To Heathrow, but 300 something years earlier, yeah.
And then, this episode, same spot, 1925, so he still missed it.
But she says, hey, I've said I want to stay with the TARDIS crew. You don't have to keep trying to take me home.
When did she say that?
At the very beginning of the episode. She's like, you don't have to keep trying to get me home. Because it landed on Earth again. And then he goes, I wasn't trying. She's like, oh yeah, you're so good at flying this thing.
At this point, I think she's just given up. Anyway, after this episode, there's Earthshock, which means she's still not going home. And then the next episode is Time Flight, which means she might go home because she works at an airport.
And because it deals with Concords, which are of that age.
So Nyssa finally gets to go home. 6 episodes after she asked to go home.
That's Tegan.
Tegan, I mean. Nyssa doesn't want to go home.
Correct. All right. Anyway, so yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Midsommar?
Yes.
You know how the protagonist is like freaking out and she has anxiety issues, and then until the final scene of the movie where they hoist her up, and then
that's why it gets so freaking creepy.
And then she just smiles. I think that's Tegan at this point. I think she was freaking out. She is constantly the damsel in distress. And now all of a sudden, she's totally pleasant. And I think she's just broken. I think she's given up on the whole.
She's like, yep, screw it. I'm good. I'm going with whatever. Yep. She stopped fighting the river. Now she's flowing with the river. Yeah. You actually may be right there. I hadn't thought about it like that.
I was kind of sad, though.
Okay. So anyway, the Doctor pitches and bowls and hits and everything really, really well. Then... turns out there's going to be a fancy dress party, and they did have one every year for the local children's hospital, and they're like, we don't have fancy dress, and
children are not invited, unless you count Adric.
Adric and Nyssa was also counted as a child. Remember, she asked for alcohol, and they said, bring the child some orange juice.
They weren't invited.
The Doctor even. So anyway, nice.
This is the same age as Anne, though, right?
Yes, she might be engaged to him, but she. Oh wow! Hold on.
You can get engaged, but you can't have champagne.
It's okay. Everyone sees Adric and Nyssa as children. Anne looks the exact same as Nyssa. We don't see Anne drinking. In fact, she asks for lemonade. But she's old enough to be engaged. But apparently, they won't let Nyssa have alcohol. So the age of consent in the United Kingdom is 15. The age to drink is 16. They might be 15. They might be 15.
Ooh. Okay.
That's the one age right in there. And just because you're engaged doesn't mean you're married. So they might be getting married in a couple of years. You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh. it seems like an arranged marriage, right? It's like a political joining of the Cranleys and the Roberts.
Well, let's get there real quick. We're almost there. Yeah. So in the plot, they're having the ball, the masquerade ball, and there's this really gorgeous manor.
Terrace.
I mean, the whole manor is just amazing. You could call it a mansion, but it's shy of a castle. I think manor would be the best word. Mm-hmm. Not quite palatial, but really nice, and apparently owned by the Cranleys.
For those of us, not me, for them, what does that word mean? Palatial. Yeah, palatial.
Like a palace.
Yeah, in case one of them wanted to know.
Okay.
Because
it's not quite a palace.
Yeah, I knew that. Now they do too.
All right. So anyway, you have this big old manor.
Palatial.
Tegan.
Can you do that with any word? Like if it's castle-like, can it be palatial?
No, palatial is a very specific word. It's not a suffix that you can use generally, although you can always coin a new word.
Palatial. It's castle-like.
I mean, palatial is a very... I mean, you can try.
Palatial.
Palatial is a very specific word.
Come back around to me. I'll get there.
Glacial would be another one. As in very slowly. That suffix, very very much like a glacier, very much like a palace. So think of very much as the suffix. Eel. I-A-L, not E-E-L.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, turns out they've all been invited to the party. There are extra costumes, so I'm going to be given costumes.
So if something was a lot like an eel, it would be eel.
That's the airline.
Eel?
Eel all.
Eel all? There's an airline called that?
I think so. It's like the Air or something.
That sounds like one that I don't want to ride. That sounds like a generic airline. No offense. That's your local airline.
I may be misremembering the exact name, but I think there's one called like
sounds
right
like
like
made
that.
out of a whole bunch of hair.
It may also have been something I saw in the movie Airplane, so I'm not 100% sure.
Eel owl.
L all. All right. Anyway, so they all get invited to the party. They all get taken to places for dress up. Now the doctor just played a whole bunch of cricket, so he gets offered a bath and his own room, and and a cocktail. Yeah. And the doctor's like, "Well, I'll take lemonade," and Anne takes lemonade. Tegan takes a screwdriver, but she's obviously into her 20s. Nissa tries with the screwdriver, gets shot down with the orange juice, which is why we think her age is right about in the 15. And finally, the guy says, "Yeah, orange juice for the kids." You know, he's talking about Adric and Nissa. And Adric's like, he's like, "You want to take your cocktail to the bath, old boy?" And Adric's like, "What do you do with a cocktail in the bath?" "You drink it, of course."
Yeah, I wouldn't get engaged if I couldn't drink it. I just feel like you need that.
Okay.
Same like going to the army. It's insane that you can die at
I think
war.
I would agree with you. I wouldn't be engaged unless I could drink yet, because you would need it, yeah.
But also in the army, you could go off and die in war at 18, but you can't have a brewski.
That was a very big topic when they were changing the drinking age from 18 to 21. And a lot of states left it at 18 for the military for a long time.
You know why they had to change it to 21? The states that didn't?
The federal government took away the highway money. Yeah. It's part of the problem with the federal government taking a whole bunch of money and then only giving it back in dribs and drabs. All right. So anyway, the doctor goes to his bath. A guy comes into his room, steals the doctor's Harlequin outfit, because the doctor was wearing a Harlequin outfit.
He comes through that fake wall, so the bathroom door closed, and then the wall panel opens. And
this is the Harlequin outfit. So in the meantime, Anne comes to Nissa, and they have the same outfit because they look exactly the same. Anne wants Nissa and she to dress up, and so nobody will tell them apart, except for a mole on Anne's shoulder.
Use that as the thumbnail for the video. When it asks you to pick the thumbnail, scroll through until you find those frames.
I just let it pick the thumbnail.
And pick that one.
Okay, so there's Anne and Nissa, and they're having fun, people not knowing which is which. Except Adric's able to tell a good chunk of the time. She's like, you filthy pig. And he's like, oh yeah, you're Nissa. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was afterward. I really liked how they played that.
Yeah.
It's like a Prince and a Pauper thing. They're playing each other, but it's a fun childlike thing, but also it just represents a certain amount of talent.
Right, and they're probably 15 or 16, and so it's what they would do. I mean, especially in the Roaring 20s.
In D&D, we call that a high charisma roll.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so anyway, everybody's dancing with each other. There's the constable. There's the father who's dancing with Tegan. Mm-hmm. The doctor ends up wandering into the secret
the
passage.
Police constable was dancing with Tegan. Nissa ended up dancing with Anne's fiance, and then Anne danced with Adric, who was dancing.
Right.
So when they went into the room, they came out and they switched partners.
Yeah, and you didn't know who.
And then each of them asked them, is this?
And he's like, oh,
and they said,
yes.
It's just so cute. I like it.
So anyway, the doctor wanders into the secret passage. He wanders around. He gets stuck in there. In the meantime, the person whose face we still haven't seen takes the Harlequin outfit the doctor was going to wear, goes down to the party wearing that outfit, and eventually dances with Anne.
Yeah.
And he
dances her out of the room.
He dances her right into the house.
Let's just skip to my Lou.
And they get to the base of the stairs. They were dancing the Charleston, I think.
Was the one after that?
The one after that. And then that ends.
Skip,
and she's like, okay, we have to go back to the party.
He skips her out of
the
terrorist.
And she's like, we need to go back to the others. And he grunts. He doesn't really speak, but he grunts.
As you do.
Yeah. And he grabs her wrist. She starts screaming.
As you do.
Okay. So earlier, when Tegan was looking at the Black Orchid, the mother, Cranley, had said that her oldest son, George, I think, found the Black Orchid in Brazil.
Uzbekistan.
And died. No, Brazil. And died. Died there. So the doctor was wondering all those things. And the man in the Harlequin outfit, whom he stole from the doctor, grabs Anne. She screams. Finally, it takes her a bit of protesting before she screams. The butler runs in. He sets a semaphore or something on the table.
Help me, and she's being grappled by this huge guy. And then the butler comes running in. He sees the assault, and he goes, "Oh my goodness!" And he walks over to the table and sets down the ice tray.
We don't have ice.
He kind of like waddles over and he goes, "Let me set this down first."
I would use it as a weapon personally, but
and then how he breaks up the fight, he just goes.
Well, no, he goes up to grab
stop that.
He goes to grab the Harlequin's neck, but the Harlequin is stronger, and the Harlequin breaks his grip and breaks his neck. Second death, and right after that, Anne faints, and the Harlequin's hands are going for her neck. End of episode.
End of episode.
All right, episode 2.
I wrote down Nissa faints. I guessed wrong.
Oh, okay.
At this point, we didn't know, and then we found out, and I felt silly.
Episode 2.
That's when we find out that it's Nissa out at the party because she walks up to Adric, and Adric's getting second. She goes, "Oh, you pig!" And he goes, "Oh, you must be Nissa." And then Tegan comes,
and she's like, "Are those? You got enough food?" He's like, "Oh, you're not starting, are you?" And he's like a 13, 14-year-old growing boy, I mean, give the kid a break.
I haven't had breakfast.
Yeah, he didn't want to, that's a great line. Yeah, I didn't have breakfast. He's like, are those seconds?
What about second breakfast? 11
I mean, to be fair, Tegan's grown up. Nissa, at least, is a little further along than Adric, and she's a little taller and bigger than her. He's still growing. He's still a couple years behind her. Yeah. But yeah, he gets picked on by them. But
you know how Groot was. You see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Volume 1 and 2
and 3.
And how was 3? Was that good?
Yeah, it was the best of the 3.
They were in that Thor movie too. Did you watch that?
No. I gave up on pretty much all of Marvel except for Guardians some time ago.
Yeah. So Groot, spoiler, Groot dies at the end of Guardians 1. Mm-hmm. And Guardians 2, they take his sapling and plant it so he can regrow.
And you got little dancing Groot.
And he's really cute. Baby Groot's really cute. And then the end credits, he turns into Teenage Groot. Mm-hmm. And Teenage Groot is annoying. No one likes Teenage Groot. I feel like Adric just crossed that line for me. Like, he's kind of the cute companion. Now he's just like, yeah, that's a teenage boy.
Exactly.
He's annoying.
Right,
he just crossed that line.
Mm-hmm. So, anyway, Anne gets taken off by the guy in the Harlequin outfit who grunted while she was passed out. Mm-hmm. And he puts her into a bed and tucks her in. It's kind of obvious that he cares for her. And he finally pulls off his mask, and you get to see he's all burnt up, kind of deformed. Like he has had a few strokes, you know? It's not good. And the skin on his hands and some on his face, it looked like he was in a fire. It's just not good.
He's no Hugo Weaving. And
yeah.
You ever see V for Vendetta?
Yes.
Or V?
Yeah. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
Well, it was great.
No, I didn't like the book either. I read the book. I didn't like the book.
The whole Guy Fawkes thing and the
1984
kind of aspects with the overarching government.
I like the premise. I hate the execution. The problem.
But the
problem with the movie is I'm facing 20 men. None of them will shoot at my head. They will all shoot at my chest where I'm wearing this one piece of armor.
No.
None of them shoot at my head.
He's wearing a steel-plated mask. They do shoot him in the face. And you see the paint chips and there's metal under. He has like this bulletproof steel mask that he's wearing.
You realize there's legs too, right?
No, they shoot him in the face and they shoot him in the body. And they also shoot him in the arms and the legs and he's bleeding out. He has bullet holes in him. And that's what's so cool about it is his pain threshold is so high because his nerve endings were damaged in the fire. Like, he protected his vital organs and like he's just getting shot up everywhere else. Yeah. Eventually he dies because of his wounds, but it doesn't matter. He's just a machine.
And the book was worse.
No, it's great.
Yes, I will torture you for 50 pages. I will torture you mentally, physically, emotionally, until you come over to my side. It was all Stockholm Syndrome, ends justifies the means crap. I did not care for it. I think the movie was slightly better, actually.
Yeah, the book was creepy, but the movie was just like an action flick. It was kung fu fighting.
It was a great waste of Agent Smith.
What? Agent Smith? Oh, Hugo Weaving?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a great film. I love the action scenes.
Teaches them. Alright. The best part about it was the ending. Where
I thought
shows up in the Guy Fawkes mask.
The girls were kissing.
I don't remember that. I may need to rewatch it. Alright, anyway. So, the doctor wanders around upstairs, finds a dead body. He finally bumps into... Don't put beer in my vodka.
You need some carbs.
No, it's Coors Light. No.
You look like you.
No, I had carbs yesterday. I'm still paying for it. Alright. Anyway, so Lady Cranley... okay, the Indian guy goes downstairs, lets Lady Cranley know that George got away.
How come they have to put the ingredients on a can of Coca-Cola, but you don't have to list the nutritional information on a can of beer?
It's assumed there is no nutrition. It's just calories and alcohol.
Well, same with soda. Coca-Cola is just sugar and
sugar,
water.
Yeah. I honestly don't know in that case, but I have looked for the carb counts and stuff on things like that before and not found them.
They're not there.
Mike's harder and stuff.
How many calories? Where's it? Where are the carbs? How many trans fats are you drinking?
It's vodka. There's no carbs.
You gotta know what you're putting in your body.
A shot of vodka is 80 calories.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know it'd be that much.
There you go. It's one of the lowest of alcohol.
This is because like the sugars are.
No, it's not sugar. It's,
what?
It's whatever the hell hard liquor is. I don't know. Hey, there's 5 calories: fat, protein, carbs, sugar, and whatever the hell hard alcohol is. Except brandy. Brandy's just sugar.
When are we gonna be able to make gasoline out of alcohol?
We already do ethanol.
Yeah, like I think we corn.
It sucks. There's 8 billion people in the world, and we're burning food to make gasoline. Just pump the gasoline out of the sinking ground, you know?
I mean, we have plenty of food.
No, we have a lot more gas than we have food.
Yeah, we have too much food. It's all going to waste.
Tell that to the Sri Lankans.
I mean, we have enough food here to feed them, but it's going in the trash fields, 100 times over.
Okay.
Because of food waste.
There's a lot of problems with the world.
I like, you watch Tomorrowland? Also has Hugo Weaving in it. He has this great line. He's this defeatist, sci-fi character, and he's just depressed, and he goes, explain to me how the world simultaneously has obesity and starvation problems.
It's called geography.
And I'm like, that's such a good point.
Geography.
That's how.
Alright, anyway. Okay, so eventually the doctor bumps into Lady Cranley.
Corruption.
Shows Lady Cranley the body of the guy who died in the first minute of the first 2 seconds.
Donate to those countries, they're good. Just going in the pockets of the politicians. What?
In some places.
And then what?
Not in all places. Alright. So and she asks him not to tell people because they don't want to upset the party, which is for a children's hospital charity. The doctor agrees to do that. And then the doctor finally gets dressed in his Harlequin outfit and heads downstairs. In the meantime, the young lady, Anne, had gotten away. And she's crying for help and stuff down the main lobby. And then the doctor comes down in his Harlequin outfit, and she's like, that's the guy that attacked me and stuff. And the doctor's like, what? I just came down the stairs. I was upstairs the whole time. And he'd met the Indian, and the Indian had taken away the dead body of the other guy. He tries to get Lady Cranley.
We prefer the term Native American.
Native Brazilian would be the closest.
Don't call him. I worked at a dog grooming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't prefer the term dog. They prefer canine American, for example.
Oh my gosh.
It's just you learn this stuff.
It was on their birth certificate, Canine American.
Yeah. It's like, how's your dog? What did you call my baby? It's a Canine American.
Alright, he votes, yeah. No, there are very few dogs that would live to be 18 to vote.
A dog has been elected mayor of the county on more than one occasion.
Yes. And a horse was once elected to Senate.
Yeah.
Not in the U.S., in ancient Rome.
But they say voting should be mandatory.
No.
Exactly.
You can't get your butt out of
People
bed
are
to
gonna
vote without it being
for
mandatory. That's
for a horse. If you're not voting, you're probably uninformed and you don't need to be voting.
Yeah, you have no passion about it whatsoever. No, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
The mandatory voting is not only contrary to the First Amendment, both of association and non-association, but of freedom of speech and freedom of non-speech.
Yeah. I was doing my basics in college. In my government class, one of the assignments was write a paper on why voting should be mandatory. Because he had this whole lecture about how every American's duty is to vote and how they should vote and how voting should be mandatory. So I wrote my paper on why voting should not be mandatory. I got a B.
Well, it's better than I got when I went against my freshman college English teacher's idea of how good Death of a Salesman was.
You didn't like that book?
Death of a Salesman, the play?
Oh, the play.
What? I hated it.
Did it start as a book? Or did it?
No, it was a play.
Absolutely, I don't know it.
Absolutely hated it.
Why don't you like the play? Or whatever.
Okay, because it is I don't want to say a loser because he's that sounds horribly patronizing and demeaning. But it was about a guy who couldn't make his way in the world and bemoaned it, and the whole thing was this glorification of the suffering of your own doing. It's like, I created this mess, I hate this mess, but I'm living in this mess. And he was one of the first anti-heroes, and I'm like, why glorify this guy? That makes no sense.
Like, because he's relatable. He's not this perfect Superman.
He's someone
who makes mistakes.
He's on the opposite end of relatable.
You see Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler's movie? Oh, you add that to the list. You know what? I'm going to add it to the list. That's on the list. You won't watch the other movie I add to the list.
No, that's next, actually.
No, Uncut Gems is next.
Okay, wait. I plan on your movie being next, but if you're going to choose Uncut Gems, that other movie is going to take a few steps back.
Death of a Salesman?
No, you're the cobbler.
Oh yeah, forget that. I showed you the trailer. You didn't look like you were into. I thought you like it because you like wizards.
Yeah,
but you will like Uncut Gems. You won't.
No, I love Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Well,
imagine Adam Sandler.
I love some of Adam Sandler
in a drama role, right? It's not a comedy.
Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, like the emotional tones in Click. Like that's all this is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Punch Drunk Love.
Alright. Next movie night. Uncut Gems.
Okay.
Should we watch?
Not next week.
Not next week. No, we're watching.
Next week we're doing Earthshock.
Next week is Earthshock, and then next week is Time Flight.
I want to finish out the season before we have
next week. It's vacation time.
Yeah.
Rome? Where are you going? Greece. Where was it? Where are you going?
We're going to Vegas and DC.
Oh, DC. That's where you're.
Yeah, Vegas, DC. Flying. Alright. Anyway, so.
And then a surprise, right? Is there a third location?
Yes.
It's a surprise.
Yes.
What is it? Write it.
I'll edit that part in 6 weeks.
Just a voiceover. Like a rodeo.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Oh, what was the line in this cereal? She doesn't even know where Eston is. Oh, that shows good taste, dear.
That was a good one.
That was a great line.
I also wrote down the line from Adric, which is, I'd much rather eat.
And
then...
What, you want to dance? I'd much rather eat.
The next line is by the doctor, because we're just talking about how he is being accused of murder. His line of defense was, it wouldn't be cricket.
Yes. It wouldn't be fair, is what that means. It wouldn't be fair.
Cricket is fair?
Yeah, the cricket is supposed to be played fairly, with fair rules, with very sportsmanlike conduct, because it's very British. And so wouldn't be cricket means it wouldn't be fair.
Do you believe football is played that way?
Soccer or American football?
American football.
By everyone except the Cowboys, yeah.
Why the Cowboys? Did they cheat?
They were so bad back in the day. All right.
I was watching.
You were just trying to get this. This is already longer than the stinking cereal. You're just trying to make it longer.
I was watching this episode. I was watching this video on like corruption in the NFL and like these, political calls that refs are making. An hour?
Keep talking. No, I don't see the time on here.
Is it not on there?
Damn it.
So the doctor's being accused of murder. He says it wouldn't be Cricket.
Yeah, he gets blamed when he comes down the Harlequin suit.
He asks Madame Cranley, to back up his Lady Cranley to back up his alibi.
Because he was upstairs with her at the time, and she will not come to his defense.
Tight-lipped.
Yeah,
she's just not saying anything.
And he's like, well, there was the body of this white guy in his 30s, and the Indian with the lip. And she just clams up and hangs him out to dry.
And then he mentions the dead body in the cupboard. And then she says he has a vivid imagination, right?
Right. Finally, can you see the time? I don't see the time.
Nope.
Yeah. I don't know if that fell off at some point. Maybe you have to push some buttons or whatever, but it's okay. It may be 45 minutes to an hour based off the sun. Alright.
Let me get out the what is that? Not a happy kiss, but the sundial.
Yeah, sundial.
Oh, it's called a
sundial. It's called a sundial. Okay, so anyway, so the doctor gets taken in for murder, the accusation of murder, as well as Adric, Nissa, and Tegan as accomplices.
Because they all showed up together.
No, accessories.
And they weren't
not
on
accessories.
Yes, list.
They at that exact time find out that the doctor was supposed to come and bowl Cricket, didn't show up, but this guy got mistaken for them. So anyway, the doctor, Tegan, Nissa, and Adric get taken in the cop car and they're heading to the police station. And the doctor's like, you know what? If we're stopping by the train station, can we stop? Because he told the guy that he was a Time Lord and he travels in time and space. The guy wouldn't believe him. And he says, haven't you read H.G. Wells? He says, yeah, it's fiction, yada yada. So they stop at the train station. The doctor tries to show the police officer the TARDIS, but it's gone. It's just completely gone. So they get back in the car and they head back to the police station. When they get to the police station, a sergeant or a constable comes up and goes, hey, you wouldn't believe what we found. We found a police box, which must have been one of the very first police boxes in the 1925. I mean, one of the very first ones. So we found a police box at the north end of the station. And the doctor's like, that's what I wanted to show you. He said, but we couldn't break in. No key would get us in. He says, doctor's like, this key will. And he's got the silver key, not the special key that we used for a couple seasons in Pertwee and then a season in Tom Baker. He's got the normal key. So he goes, he opens the TARDIS. They invite the constable and a couple of the other cops in. They go in, and they're like, holy mackerel, this is insane. Because it's the TARDIS, not just a police box. And then they hear that there's a call of another murder there's a call from the Carlisle's manor, and they need to send the cops there. So the doctor's like, they're like, let's get in the police cars. And the doctor's like, well, I can take you there faster. And he does. And so they're finally starting to believe what he says. So the TARDIS goes to the manor. They all get out. In the meantime...
And then they live happily ever after.
Most of them do.
Right? The end.
So in the meantime, they come out. George had been recaptured, but he escapes again because his Indian friend, captor, is a horrible guard.
He's in the corner reading his book.
Yeah, with his back to George. George escapes again, kills the guard, and the guard drops the key to let him out, like right into the deals. That was that was the third death.
Are we on episode 3 yet?
No, there's only 2 episodes. So third death. So George gets the bright idea to burn down the door to get out.
Yeah, as you
So he's burning down the door to get out of the room.
Did you talk about how he put the key through the...
Yeah, he put the key between the slats. George starts burning down the manor to get out of the room. He gets out of the
I
room.
was talking over you when you were talking about that. Which is why I didn't hear it.
Oh. Okay. So George runs through the stuff. In the meantime, everybody shows up into the lobby area. George comes down and he's confronted by his mother and his brother. They kind of corral him into the middle, and then everyone else shows up on the other side, and George is in a panic. His mind is not quite there. He grabs Nissa, who he thinks is Anne.
Because Nissa's wearing her hair up, so it looks like it's short. And she put it up in a bun because she's wearing that mask.
Yeah, but at this point, I don't think she has the hair on, but he doesn't. He can't tell.
She's wearing her hair up, so it looks
Okay.
like it's short, like Anne.
So when it was in the mask, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it still is.
So
it looks short. Like
he
Anne's.
grabs her. He runs up. The stairs are burning. Everyone goes outside, and he's doing the whole King Kong thing, Beauty and the Beast thing. You know. He takes Nissa up to the very top. The doctor tries to find a way in from the outside. To his credit, Carlisle or Edward or whatever his name was,
Cranley.
Cranley, starts to climb up on the outside,
Yeah.
4 or 5 stories, which
And then Adric tries to run after the doctor and Cranley, and the constable goes, nah, two's
two's enough. Yeah, because they're treating Adric as a kid. He's probably 13, 14, which he is.
As you should,
Yeah,
which the doctor doesn't.
yeah. The doctor did that by keeping them from running up the burning stairs, but then the doctor runs up the burning stairs later. Anyway, so they get to the roof, and George has Nissa, and Edward's kind of approaching from one side, and the doctor's kind of sneaking up from the other, and finally, the doctor's like, "Look, that is not Anne. Look, Anne's down there. That's Anne down there."
Your beard looks very nice. Did you trim it?
Thank you. Guy had 2/3 of it cut off today.
Oh, it looks very shaped. So there's
You can
this-
actually read the shirt today, where you couldn't read it before. Yeah.
There's a superhero called the Crimson Chin, and his chin's about the size of your beard. So I'm just picturing that's stubble, and you have your beard just right underneath you. So you just have this massive, manly, chiseled jawline chin.
I'll take that.
I'll show you a picture of Crimson Chin.
Alright. So anyway, the doctor convinces George, out of the good of George's heart, he lets Nissa go. He sees it's Anne down there, and this is not his Anne, and he lets Nissa go into the doctor's arms. And then
Cranley's like, oh,
Cranley's
thanks,
like,
old chap.
yeah,
and
thanks,
George
my
goes,
brother. Yeah, and he goes to hug him, but George is so scared of his brother that he backs off and falls off the 4-story roof plummets to his death. It's the 4th death in the serial.
Exactly how the thief who killed Ben Parker, no, Uncle Ben, that's how he died. You see Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire?
Yeah, I thought it was a wrestling guy or something.
Yeah, he robbed the wrestling
Yeah.
place. And he's like, you killed my uncle, and then he's backing up and he trips on the pipe and falls out the window.
No, I forgot that part.
Yeah.
Alright, so...
Because Spider-Man doesn't kill people.
Alright.
You know, he didn't kill the Green Goblin either. He jumped out of the way.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new Spider-Man movie with No Way Home?
I saw No Way Home, yeah.
Yeah, you liked it?
Yeah, it was good. I think we talked about that before.
With all the Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Spoiler.
So anyway, George falls to his death. In the meantime, you find out that he was tortured by the tribe from whom he took the Black Orchid, and they cut out his tongue.
Yeah.
and it gave him strokes. It messed with his brain, and
well, he also got like burned up, which can give you strokes too. So his nerve endings were probably all messed up.
Yeah. And what happened to him was incredibly tragic. But he dies, and then they have the funeral, which is off screen.
He was brought back by his Detar.
Yeah,
Tony.
The Indian guy.
He's a different tribal.
Right, who befriended him.
Yeah.
So then she gives the doctor a book. The book's called Black Orchid, but it shows the younger son, and apparently the younger son's still going to marry Anne. And that's the end of the episode.
Happily ever after. They stayed for the funeral.
Yep, and then happily ever after.
Next time, Earthshock. Which is the doctor normally doesn't stay for things like that.
Right. This is strange because it's one of the very few two-parters in the old stuff. It's also strange because it's the very last straight historical. No sci-fi elements at all. All the historicals after this have a sci-fi element, so they're not straight historicals. They're science fiction as well.
Right.
But this is the very last one, like the Romans or what have you.
That's kind of sad. I've been excited for this one because it's been a while since we had a historical.
Yeah.
You teased that it's coming up and it's going to be the last historical.
Wait,
so I was
this one.
Yeah. And then, I have to admit, I never read the Black Orchid, so I had no idea what. This was an actual historical event?
No clue. Doubt it. But who knows?
Oh, so a historical as in it's based on a book.
No, historical as in it's set in the past and doesn't have a sci-fi element. Now, it may contain people who were in history, like the Romans with Nero and the burning of Rome and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, who knows? There may be a book called Black Orchid by this guy, but I don't know. But anyway, it's a good story, and since the main group did not meet yesterday,
we're catching up again.
Caught up again by a single week.
Boop.
Yeah, boop, boop, boop. All right, okay. Any other news or anything from you?
I have the same question every podcast.
Oh, speaking of which, what are the questions you?
It's usually, do we get to see this villain again? Obviously, we're not going to see this villain again. So instead, I'll ask. Episode 2 at the end, it made a very big point that they got to keep their costumes.
Yes.
Do we ever see these costumes again?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought they'd show up again because they're like, do we really get to keep these? And like, foreshadowing? No.
I don't think so.
So we don't get to see the costumes again. Davidson plays cricket in real life?
Yes, or at least he did. Yeah. I mean, he's still alive, but he's in his 60s or so.
This outfit finally comes.
Yeah, the outfit finally comes into play. His cricket outfit.
Doppelgangers. Do they show up again in the future? Is that a recurring trope? Because we've seen it twice before.
We've seen it once with the first Doctor, or technically twice with the first Doctor, but one was a robot. The other one was an actual doppelganger. And once with the second Doctor was Salamander. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time we've seen it with a companion.
Right. Do we see more doppelgangers in the future?
Not that I recall, no.
Doppelganger's a German word.
Yes.
Do you know what it means? Me.
Double person?
I don't know what it means. That's probably what it means. That's
Yeah, I don't think we have any more doppelgangers, at least that I remember, coming up. All right,
cool. That's all my questions. We'll see you next week.
Next week,
Earthshock.
Earthshock.
And then the week after for the season finale, Time Flight, where Tegan probably gets to go home.
4 weeks after.
And then Vacation.
No, after.
Oh, Earthshock's the last one before Vacation.
Yes.
Oh, in that case.
And then we have to wait for Time Flight till we get back, and then we can finally do the season, our first season of Davison.
Hey.
With 2 more seasons to go.
Alright. Stick around for long.
Yep. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. And our 5th anniversary next week. Show up next week for the 5th anniversary.
Alright, sing the outro.
Da 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 da.
Ooh.
You just close the aperture.
Ooh. Do you know there's night vision on this?
Yes, you take the screen. You move
That's
this.
so cool.
Stop that.